Welcome back to the Amibros podcast. Bing, 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 bing. It is episode 3. Damn, episode 3 already? That's crazy. What do you think? What are you thinking, bro?
I'm thinking I'm excited.
Hmm.
I honestly forgot about the podcast, to be honest with you, just because there's a lot going on in my life right now, and I just
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about it. And then you texted me like recording tonight. I'm like, huh? I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh shit, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. We
So
have we have a thing now. We have a new.
so
Yeah, man.
anyway, just because I mentioned it, me and my girlfriend moved to a town a little bit closer to them where I live. No, don't know shit where I live. A little closer to where I work, and it's an apartment, 1 bedroom. So been dealing with that, getting everything ready, such as Wi-Fi. Who the fuck is Wi-Fi?
Who the fuck is Wi-Fi? You gonna
Kevin
tell
Hart.
cancer? Anyways,
Um,
sorry.
but anyway,
Eric and I have what I call is like comedic Tourette's. Anything that we think is hilarious, we'll just a word will trigger it, and we'll just start going crazy.
yeah, we just
So
that's it. But anyway, I moved, dealing with all the moving shit, moving itself, getting all the utilities ready, Wi-Fi and all that.
moving
Um,
so annoying.
but it's all pretty much done. Just little nitty gritty stuff here and there. Other than that, it's been awesome. Happy to finally move out of my parents' house. Nothing against them. It's just I'm 29 years old and be a fucking adult, be independent. So,
But
this is my,
this is not your first time moving out of their house, so it's not. It's
no,
not.
no.
It's nothing new. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I moved out when I was 18 and lived on my own until 26. Basically, when
And
I
then
moved
move,
out here, had to
and
move
then you
back
move
home with my
back. Yeah,
parents, and then now 3 years later, I'm 29 and I got my own place again. Well, not my own, I'm with my girlfriend, but.
yeah.
Um,
But it's always good to like center yourself back and get back on track. And there's
yeah.
nothing wrong with moving back with the parents. Actually, there's a statistic going around that a lot of like our age group and like the millennials and Gen Z, whatever cusp you're on, um, are having trouble owning their first home at our age when it was easier for people that are our age now to own a home earlier. Like people were getting homes at 30 years old, like we're about to be 30, right? I'm not
I
there
mean,
yet. We're in an apartment, at least we got out of the house of our parents, but still
it's
it's
just
it's
the
hard to own a home.
it's the cost of living. You think about it. Me and my buddy Sandy, which you guys will meet one day. We talk about this, and we're like, dude, it's crazy how not just our parents, but like our grandparents or great grandparents, they can work at a goddamn supermarket and pay a mortgage, support a family, and do what they got to do. Now it's like, oh, you make for that. I make 27 bucks an hour. That should be enough to live comfortably, but it's a struggle even with that. Gas is
Yeah.
high in California, taxes are high, the tariffs are making everything more expensive, and it's just like how you supposed to live, And it's like, I'm blessed to have this apartment. I'm very grateful for it. But in the thick of it, when me and my girlfriend were looking for a spot, something like kind of daunted on me. I was like, Jesus Christ, like how difficult is it? Like low income housing for California, I believe you have to be at $38,000 or less to even be qualified. But then again, when you're employed, you're making more than that, but not
Yeah.
enough to have an apartment. So I'm like, well,
It's a tricky system.
it's just like you're in limbo at that point. And
Yeah.
that's why, you stay at your parents and hopefully people out there you have, a good support system to
Yeah.
have a place to stay. A lot of people they bunk up with their buddies or their girlfriend, not girlfriend, but girls with friends and their home girls, whatever. Like you have to have roommates to even make it affordable.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
but yeah.
So,
So anyway, welcome back to the podcast, guys. Kind of
episode
ranted off
3.
a little bit, and I'm stoked. This will be a good one. Patriotic as fuck as it's almost 4th of July, but we'll get into that. But first, what are you drinking on this Thirsty Thursday?
Today, it's a margarita. No, I'm just kidding. I just got back from the gym not too long ago, so it's a nice little chocolate protein shake with water and not milk because I'm trying to lean out over here, you know? So, what about you?
I have this beautiful green apple Gatorade, diluted with some
It's
water
nice.
because I'm not trying to take too much sugar in either.
Fair enough.
I'm on a health bender right now. I've been fasting for the last 5 weeks. I only eat for it sounds like an eating disorder. It really does, but it's I only eat from like 4 to 7, give or
Hmm.
take, maybe a little more depending on the timing of it. Like if I'm gonna eat later, I fast longer. But ideally, I try to eat from 4 to 7, and then at 7 p.m. I cut it off. I don't eat until 4 p.m. the next day, so it's like 22 hours or 21 hours fasting.
And
So
how do you feel like your energy is throughout the day? Because I feel like that's a long time. Like, actually, I think I also fasted today until 4 o'clock, just because I woke up late and then I just went to work to go visit some customers and I didn't have anything in my system until I got back home, which was around 4. That's when I cooked some rice and ground beef. But how do you feel like your energy is throughout the day? Like, are you sipping water? Are you like,
yeah, I basically well the first day awful. I remember it like it was yesterday. I didn't eat at around 1 p.m. I work, in the plumbing industry, so I'm lifting pipes, I'm digging, or working hard, and
yeah,
you
physically
need
stressful?
you need energy and calories and whatnot, and all of a sudden I take all that away, my body's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, and I kid you not, I got dizzy, I felt nauseous, and I just drank 2 bottles of water and seemed fine. And the next day got a little bit better. By week 2 or 3, I'm now in week 5. I'm just used to it now. Like I just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's like energy wise, I feel fine. Like I don't feel like I'm sluggish. I don't feel like I'm tired. I don't feel like I'm starving. Um, so I think so far it's going well. I'm down to 206. When
From,
I started the fast at 215.
okay.
So
Dude, that's awesome.
and I'm trying to lean out, like, kind of like what you're saying. Obviously, if I'm working out and doing that, it will speed up the process. But right now, I can't afford a gym right now, I'll be honest. But it is what it is. I work, I dig, I do things like that. So that's a workout of its own. Um, but paying the iron, there's really no substitute. But you know, I do what I can for now.
Yeah. No, that's great. Um, I'm actually on a fitness journey myself. Eric I think mentioned it in the last podcast how, I'm always hitting the gym and trying to be consistent with it. But it is better when you write down your goals and write down your goals when it's like something achievable, like something realistic, right? So my goal at the beginning of the year was to eventually, sometime in the year, right? I have a whole year to accomplish this goal, right? So I have a lot of time. So it's doable, it's achievable, is to get my body weight from what I was before. In the beginning of the year, I think I was at 180 pounds, right?
That's
Um, to 195 pounds. But the trick is I also want to adjust my body fat percentage so that way I can lean out better. I think at the beginning of the year,
you're trying to lean out but bulk up at the same time.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So, um,
So
I think
true.
at the beginning of the year, I was at 180, but my body fat percentage was, I believe, 18% body fat, which is probably the highest I've ever been in my life. Um, I grew up skinny, but never bulky. I was always skinny. Um, so 180 pounds, 16 to 18% body fat, or it was what it was what I was at. I think, yeah, 18. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put my foot down. And in Spanish, they say ponerme las pilas, which directly translates to putting on my batteries. So like that's like it's like a common saying like let's fucking go. Like put your shoes on, like get yourself going. And I put a goal down, and I put for me to get to 195 pounds muscle at 13 to 14% body fat. If I can get below any of those numbers, even better. Right now, the last time I checked myself, I was 185. This was June 5th. I was at 185 at 16% body fat. So I dropped 2% already. So this is good. I'm on
Correct.
pace. So, I just need to gain 10 more pounds of some muscle and drop down at least two more percentages in body fat, and I'll reach my goal. We're in month six, right? July's the sixth month of the year.
7.
January, February, March, April. No, six. Yeah. Oh no, this is June. Sorry, we're in June. My
I was
bad.
like,
We're we're 6 months into the year, so I got six more to go,
but that's
and
interesting
we'll
you
see,
said, you know,
see how that goes.
it's kind of veering off what we plan to talk about, and that's fine because it's organic conversation. But one thing you did mention I do agree with is setting realistic goals. And
Hmm.
I am a prime example of someone who doesn't. You know, well, not anymore. I'm better now, but you know,
Hmm.
I would set goals for myself and I'll hit that shit hard like a bulldog. For example, if I'm trying to gain muscle, lose weight, whatever, get in better shape, I'll hit the gym hard for like a month every single
Yeah,
day, and then I'll burn out so fast. I'm like, fuck this, I'm not going back.
yeah,
And then I don't. So, um, but I noticed if you set realistic short-term goals for yourself and then build off that, then that long-term goal is that much more achievable. For example, like I do a lot of walking, obviously because of work, but I also try to get my steps in. And I remember reading somewhere that if you're trying to, you know, maintain weight or lose weight, walking is the best way to do it because
100%.
it's an easy thing to do. You're not running a mile, you're not sprinting a 100-yard dash, you're just walking. It's achievable, anyone can do it, and it's something that you can do consistently. And that's the key word here is consistency. And that's the one thing I think John had in his bag from a very young age is his consistency with his health and his workout and stuff like that, which I didn't have. Um, but walking is something that's easy to do, and all you need is about, you know, 35, 40 minutes a day, and you're okay. Obviously, you go above and beyond, you do more, all the better. But telling someone to run 3 miles a day, you're like, fuck, I can't do that. We tell someone, hey, walk a mile a day, and then build on that. Oh, I can do that. I
Hmm.
can walk a mile. So it's just the realism of the goal and the steps to take to achieve that goal. If you make it easier on yourself, you're more likely to be consistent. If you stay consistent, you'll reach the goal in no time. It actually sounds a lot more simple than it is.
Yeah,
Like me, I'm averaging about 13 to 14,000 steps a day. I definitely feel like it's working. Um,
yeah,
plus the fasting and the all the physical labor I'm doing at work. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, there's this Instagram content creator. He talks a lot about um fitness and being healthy, and he actually has a podcast as well. I think it's called Higher Up Wellness Podcast. I forget the guy's name, but he always says it isn't easy, but it is simple. So all you got to do is write your shit down, have a clear view, and just stay consistent. And once you veer off, just veer back on.
yeah.
Doesn't
And
matter.
and if you do veer off, don't beat yourself up. It happens. We're all normal. Like
Yeah.
we're not. No one's perfect. You know. For example, with the fast, I try to be good Monday to Friday, and then weekends I kind of splurge a little bit. But then
Yeah.
Monday comes around, I'm back on the grindstone and I'm doing what I gotta do.
Yep.
Um, and so far, this has been working out for me. Um, it might not be for everybody either. Remember that
Yep.
John's a different body. I'm a different body. Everyone here is different shapes, sizes, and all that. Um, body chemistry and all that. So if it works for us, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. Um, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah.
So
Like for Eric, fasting is working for him. For me, it's just staying consistent at the gym and eating the correct foods. It might work different for somebody else, but the only way you're gonna find out is if you're like, you know what, man, I'm tired of being unfit. I'm gonna look this up. Google it. We've had Google. If you're my age, if you're a little bit younger, we've had Google for so long. Google will guide you in the right direction. YouTube, Chat GPT, even the free version of Chat GPT, it'll help. But anyways, let's get to our first topic. Eric, do you want to start with our first topic? This is probably
yeah,
one of your favorite holidays, right?
4th of July. It's first off, happy 4th of July. Hope everyone has a nice holiday. They're out there enjoying it, being safe, um, you know, things like that, enjoying the barbecues, enjoying the quality time with friends and family. That's what it really matters. But if you go down to the thick of it, um, to the roots, the 4th of July celebrates the independence of the United States of America, um, breaking away from Great Britain or England, and it symbolizes the moment where the United States is, in fact, the United States. In 1776 is the date that it happened,
Hmm.
and now it's 2025. And guess what? Shit still ain't perfect. There's a lot of shit
Nope.
going on. There's a lot of shit going on today. Um, that I don't agree with. I think a lot of people don't agree with, but
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get political here. But regardless of how bad it is, I still think America is the best country in the world. And we've talked about this
I
before.
agree.
I'm not gonna beat a dead horse on this. We've talked about it in the first episode, second episode, now it's the third. But to sum it up, it's just opportunities you're given here that you're not given anywhere else.
Yeah.
Um,
As you
and
can
I'm
tell,
grateful.
both Eric and I are very patriotic, so US will come up a lot in our conversations. So
You know,
gotta mention 4th of July. What
yeah.
you were saying?
But it's great. I mean, it symbolizes a lot. The American
Hmm.
flag. People are very opinionated, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't really matter. In the end of the day, I think if we all believe that we're all Americans and try to be good citizens, things will be fine. There's no right or wrong answer. That's the beauty of it. Hence the freedom of speech, which we'll get into in a little bit in this episode. What I don't appreciate is sometimes I feel like prejudice and opinions that people have to try to speak their mind or protest. There are some things I think are unacceptable. Burning of the flag, things like that. Kneeling during the national anthem, I don't appreciate that at all.
Really?
Um,
That's interesting.
I think you stand in respect for those who've fallen for the flag. You might not respect the government, you might not respect certain things about it, about the country, and that's fine, it's your right. But respect the fact that people have given their lives for this country so that flag can still stand tall and symbolize what they fought for. The freedom,
Hmm.
unity and all that. I have family members in the military, I got friends in the military. My grandfather was in World War II, served in
Hmm.
the Navy, fought in Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Um, you know, greatest generation type shit. I never once thought about kneeling, regardless of how I feel about protests going on at the time or whatever. And it's your right to protest. It's your right to do so, but as long as you're peaceful with it, you know. Um, when I see protest videos of people attacking whoever they're disagreeing with, or rioting, or looting, or vandalizing, I'm like, what is that doing? Nothing. Did Martin Luther King become violent in any point of his mission? I don't know if that's the right word, but
No, yeah.
no,
Mission.
he wasn't. He spoke
His mission to
clearly. He
protest.
He spoke clearly, he spoke intellectually, and violence was not the way he did things. And look how much he changed things. I mean, it took a long time to finally come around, but if it wasn't for him, we would be where we are right now, you know? But he did it in a peaceful way. And I'm all for that. I'm all for that. You know, you fight for your rights. You fight for what you believe in, and that's fine as long as you do it the right way. Um, like I said, kneeling for the flag, burning the flag, spitting on the flag, things like that, does not taste good for me. I don't like that.
Yeah. I don't agree with spitting on the flag, but you know me, I'm always challenging everybody's like I'm always questioning everybody and like making sure that everything is thought out well. So now I'm gonna question you, Eric, real quick here. So when you say burning of the flag, right? On Google, it shows here, burning of the American flag is a form of symbolic speech protected by the First Amendment. According to the Supreme Court rulings, this means the government cannot prohibit someone from burning their own flag as a form of protest. Now there's more. There's more information. There's a detailed explanation of it looks like there was a lawsuit, Texas versus Johnson. Supreme Court case that solidified flag burning as a form of protected speech. The court ruled 5-4 that Gregory Lee Johnson's flag burning was expressive conduct and thus protected under the First Amendment, even though it was considered offensive by many. Interesting, right? Um,
I'm not saying
I
don't do it. I just don't agree with
no,
it.
I don't think I would burn the American flag. Um, I've had a lot of opportunity here. My parents were giving a lot of opportunity coming from a different country here. Do I agree with everything that goes on in the United States? No. Um, I wouldn't burn the American flag. Also, like I think it looks kind of crazy because it's fire. Fire is crazy. It causes destruction. I wouldn't burn the American flag. No. As for kneeling, I feel like kneeling might be okay in my book just because it's more respectful than just sitting down. Like for example, like the whole um, what's the quarterback's name?
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. That whole thing where he didn't stand for the national anthem. Um, yeah, that wasn't cool. I understand why he was doing it. It wasn't cool. Then he did um his research, he did his he did his due diligence like, okay, how can I respect but also protest at the same time? You know, a Marine reached out or he reached out to a Marine. No, I think it was the other way around. Marine reached out to him and said, "Hey, look, Um, what you did is kind of disrespectful. If you want to be respectful about it, just kneel. And think about it. We kneel when we want to pray sometimes, right?
Well,
So there's there's
there's no rule that says you have to
no,
stand, you have to sit, or
no.
whatever. But I think, I guess kneeling,
It's a
because you
different
kneel like in
perspective, right?
baseball, right? Someone gets hurt on the field,
You
everyone
kneel.
kneels. Everyone
Yeah.
kneels and they wait.
And
Um,
that's not a rule. That's again like what we're
it's
saying.
not a
That's not a
rule.
rule. It's just out of a form of respect because like a player's down and you know, this is a game. This is back to baseball, of course. This is a game of like kids, right? And we just want to make sure like the other
Yeah.
kid is fine. That's why you kneel down out of
Um,
respect. So
um, I don't know, I was always raised to stand. I mean, you don't have to put your hand on your heart. Like, stand
yeah,
respectfully. Take your hat off. Don't have to. You don't have to go like this. You don't have to.
I always
Put
do.
it down.
Take your hat off, boy. That's $1. Take your hat off, boy. That's the American flag.
Um,
Comedic Tourette's.
but
Again, that's a line from what's that movie? A Million
million.
Ways to Die in the West. Yeah.
hmm
Take your
But
hat off, boy. That's $1 bill.
in the end of the
Anyways.
day, that's the beauty of this country, right? It's gonna segue to our
Mhm.
next topic. Is your freedoms, right? You're allowed to do things that not many. other countries allow you to do. I mean, obviously, like Europe is pretty similar, things like that. But like you have freedom of speech, you know you have the right to
Freedom
speak
of religion.
religion. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm specifically thinking about the Middle East where it's like they can't, women can't vote, they can't drive, they can't have an education, they can't, you know, they have to do whatever the man says, and that's final. And the man
Yeah.
can have multiple wives, multiple spouses, and they can't say shit about it.
Yeah. Do you agree?
Um,
You don't agree with that, obviously.
what, open relationships?
No, I'm saying that that whole like thought process of like
No, absolutely
men,
not.
yeah,
Absolutely not.
it's
Remember,
terrible.
like, I mean, like, no, I'm just kidding.
Ah,
Well, I mean, they're good
actually,
cooks. They're good cooks. I was just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not. And with my girlfriend, we talked about, kids. And she asked me, like, how do I feel about having a son or a daughter? And I was like, either or is fine. Because, yes, it'd be cool to have a son. 'Cause that's a special bond, father and son. But then daddy
hmm
daughter is also a very special bond as well.
hmm
And I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, it doesn't really matter if it's a son or a daughter because a girl can do just as much as a guy can do if they put their
hmm
mind to it. And it shouldn't stop them. They want to play baseball, let them play baseball. They want to play softball, let them play softball. It doesn't matter. Obviously, there are biological differences that will give a male a little more advantage, and at some point they may have to stray to the more female side of the sport or whatever.
hmm
But not going to stop them from trying. And I
Right.
can still have a catch at my daughter just as well as I have a catch at my son. I can still show my daughter how to drive. I can show my son how to drive. I can show him how to shoot. I can show him how to fish, how to play golf. Like it doesn't matter in today's day. It's not like old school where it's like you have a son, he's doing X, Y, Z, and you have a daughter, teach her how to do laundry, teach her how to do cooking, teach her how to do cleaning, teach her how
hmm
no. And I think it's so well balanced now that
Yeah.
it's the sky's the limit. I mean, yes, there is still sexism. There's still things like that um, in society, which is very wrong. Just
Yeah.
objectification, things like that. But
You don't think there should be uh specific gender roles to specific things you're saying, right? Like a man could also cook and clean and wash the dishes,
absolutely, I
right? Because
cook and clean and wash the dishes.
there's that stigma that women are supposed to take care of that role, like because it's like the nurturing part of the role, but
It might
guys
be
can do it
easier
too.
for them. It might be easier for them to be a little more nurturing and motherly. But
Right.
there's no reason a guy can't. There's single dads out there fucking doing the job. And there's single moms out there doing the job. We talked about this last week. Um,
Absolutely.
there's no reason they can't. Obviously there's things I can never do. I can't birth a child. I can't you know breastfeed out of my titty.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be nuts. I can't. I physically can't. But does
Yeah.
that mean I can't be a good role model for my son and daughter if I'm a single parent? Absolutely not. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do my absolute best. I'm not saying that. It's unfortunate that people have those households that are split, but you make it happen. You make it work. You do what you have to do. Obviously, you want a stable household. You want a mother figure and a father figure because I think that works out a little bit better for the development of the child.
Yeah.
It's just not how the game plays sometimes. You got to play your best cards that you're
Yeah.
dealt.
Absolutely. Bringing it back to, America, United States, patriotism. What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite part? What's your favorite whatever it may be of the United States? Aside from all the bullshit that's going on, right? Let's bring it to the positive side. What is your favorite thing living and breathing the United States?
Diversity.
Yeah,
You have so many different cultures, and we talked about this. It's so cool, and
it's
it's
so
like
cool. Yeah,
you
you're
can
so
go
right.
you can go down the street and have some great Hispanic food. You can go have great American food, barbecue. You go. I mean, I love watching food channels. I guess networks. You
Food
know,
Network.
and like they go to different areas of the United States and they try all these different foods, and it's like, where else can you get that? obviously, like, you go to Spain, you have the authentic Spanish food. You go to Italy, you have the authentic Italian food.
Yeah,
But in America, you can have Japanese, Korean barbecue, Italian, Chinese, Hispanic, Mexican food. You can have all of that. You just got to find it. And I think
yeah,
that's the beauty of it is there's always something for someone here, whether it's a
yeah.
job,
They, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
whether it's a job, a hobby, a cuisine, music. Um, I would love to experience, New Orleans during Mardi Gras. I would love to experience. Um,
Mardi Gras is fun.
you've been there?
Yeah, yeah. I went
Okay,
last year.
that's right, you did. But it's the culture of melting pot. That's what I love the most. I think is the best way to put it.
And just what you said, they don't call the United States, you know, they call it, I mean, they call the United States the melting pot for a reason because it's the land of the free, right?
Because of the brave.
Because of the brave. And, you know, we have such a diverse country. That's why, like, in a lot of like sports games, USA is usually and always, I would say, in the top five, always in like competitive sports. Um, why? Because we're such a diverse country that, we get all these little different skills and flavors from all these other countries and put it into one, you know?
Well, the thing
So,
about what you just said is, it's about the Olympics.
yeah, I'm not saying specifically Olympics, but anytime there's um countries in versing each other in sports, whether it's Olympics, whether it's just like somebody has
The
a
World
gathering
Cup.
for a World Cup or something along those lines, where different countries verse each other in a sport.
Yeah, but it's only the Americans on the American team. It's not like we have Messi on our team because he plays for Miami now.
No, no, what I'm saying is like, for example, you and I don't look alike, right? We're both
No,
American. Ooh, Gata. Um,
rush
we
hour.
don't we obviously don't look alike, but we're both American and we would both play on the same team. Now, when you go to like, let's say China, most of them look alike, right? When you go to a Brazilian team, most of them look alike. When you go to like a European like Finland or Swedish, they're all like tall with blonde hair and blue eyes. They all look very similar. India, they all look the same.
So
United States,
you're telling me if we're playing baseball, right, and
uh,
it's at the World Baseball Classic,
uh-huh,
and they say you could pick between playing for the Dominican Republic or USA, what would you pick?
DR, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay, so exactly. So I mean, I would pick America, but am I
Oh well,
really gonna?
so okay, this is specific because I think DR is the better team usually, and I want to play for a winning team. But if let's say
I mean,
DR was out of the picture, of course, the United
the
States.
MLB has a ton of Dominican players, Mexican players.
Yeah.
It's not all just USA MLB.
No,
You know,
no, no, no.
they recruit a lot of players from other countries because they are so good.
Right.
Now
Mel
Japan's coming up now. Otani,
Melting pot.
all these different like pitchers are coming from Japan.
Yeah.
Um, but it's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll dive into here. So, Eric, you had written here a little history, and I'll go over it. A couple bullet points. 4th of July, what is it? It's the independence of the USA. On July 4th, 1776, the Second Continental Congress formally adopted the Declaration of Independence, officially declaring the American colonies' separation from Great Britain. The American colonists sought independence from Britain due to a combination of factors, including unfair taxes, lack of self-government, and British attempts to control colonial affairs. Specifically, the colonists felt they were being taxed without representation, forced to house British soldiers, and denied their right to a trial. all in violation of their rights as British citizens. Interesting. That's America, man. Little history there. Greatest country in the world. I know some people won't agree with us, but I never gave my reason why I love the United States.
I was
My
just about to
reason
ask.
is, my reason is, and I've mentioned this before already, is the ability for us to grow and adapt. We are a country that we don't stay stagnant. We like to make sure we're not behind the curve, right?
Are we though?
What do you mean?
Healthcare, education.
Yeah,
We're a little behind.
but
We're a little behind. I feel it, for me at least.
right. But what I'm saying is we're always able to change something, always. Like I
Mm.
mentioned before, slavery. Once there was once in a time where the United States allowed people to own slaves. That got abolished. There was once a time where gays could not get married. That was abolished. There was a time where women could not vote. That doesn't exist anymore. There's
Mm.
always something that this country has adapted to and grown for the betterment of the people. And that is why I love this country. That is my favorite part of this country is we allow ourselves to grow and to adapt to the betterment of of our citizens, of our people. And that's how it should be everywhere. We should always take care of everybody, you know? Um, Sidebar, totally random, totally out of not what we're talking about in the United States. The Florida Panthers are the 2025 NHL hockey champs. That's why I'm wearing this hat. This is probably my 62nd hat out of my entire hat collection. Um,
I could tell there's dust on it, dude. Like you haven't put that shit on in a minute.
Actually, I just got this. I might have collected this as of recent, but
Oh,
uh, yeah, it was great. Um, I went to the parade this past Sunday. There was approximately 400,000 people in attendance, which is an insane number to me to think about. 400,000 people. If I asked every person for a dollar, I would have $400,000 right now.
no shit.
That'd be crazy. You have a dollar? You have a dollar I can borrow? Whatever. Anyways, um, crazy. I know, so such a stupid, such a
About a
stupid thing.
dollar.
400,000 people. I enjoyed it. I actually went last year. They're this is their second championship in a row, so they just two-peated. We're hoping that they go for three, a three-peat. I believe there has never been a three-peat ever in hockey, in the history of hockey. So that would be cool to see. I might be wrong, but um, yeah, it was so dope. The people were awesome. The awards ceremony or the championship ceremony that most teams have was on the beach. So they set up the whole stage and everything. It was on the beach. It was on the beach last year. It's on the beach this year. And it's cool to think about that because it's like, where else do you have an award ceremony on the beach? I don't know where else. I feel like when I've seen any like World Series ceremonies, I've seen it like on a big field, like on a big grass field or a stadium or something, or but never a beach. But yeah, that's my little sidebar. Little Florida Panthers championship.
I remember, no, winning a championship's gotta be some feeling. It's it's what you work hard so hard for in
Yeah.
your respected sport. So hats off to Florida Panthers. Um, Great for you guys. I'm not a big hockey fan whatsoever. No, nothing
Hey,
against it. It's just
I wasn't a hockey fan like 3, 4 years ago. I got into it. I don't know. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna start watching hockey, and it's been dope. It's dope. Sidebar. There has been three peats. It looks like the Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, and the New York Islanders. Those three teams have had three peats in their history. Cool. Anyways,
the
our next topic. What do we got?
yeah. Speaking of freedoms, we talked about freedom of speech, and I already mentioned we'll talk about it a little bit. But excuse me, sorry, picking up a crumb, got distracted. Uh, Comedy. That's a big way to express
Absolutely.
individuals' thoughts. I'm a big fan of comedy. I think um, whether it's movies, stand up, everyone likes to laugh. Laughter
Yeah.
is the best medicine.
Yeah.
Um, but in regards to comedy, specifically stand up, I feel like today you have to watch what you say sometimes because cancel culture, you might say the wrong thing. And my thought
Yeah.
is this: if you don't like what the comedian's talking about, then don't watch it. Like, I mean, Jesus, I never thought to do that.
Yeah.
People are so quick to tweet to do whatever they can, or I don't know, is it still called
Yeah.
tweeting or is it Xing? I don't
I call it tweeting.
know.
Whatever.
Like, F this person for saying he's homophobic, he's this, he's supports domestic violence, like whatever they want to say because of a joke. And like they lose the point of it's a joke. It's not
Yeah.
serious. Um, my mind goes directly to two people. Number one, Kevin Hart, one of my all-time favorite comedians. I remember
All
reading
time.
somewhere that way back he made some gay jokes
Mm-hmm.
before it was frowned upon.
Yeah.
But then they brought it up in present day, not present day, like legitimate, like maybe a couple years ago, they brought it up and they tried to
Mm-hmm.
get him for it. He goes, I'm not apologizing for what I said back when it was okay for me to say it. I was like, I should
Yeah.
not have to apologize for that. I agree with him 100%. But the other person that I thought about too when it comes to comedians and culture, cancel culture, is Matt Rife. I think he's hilarious. I think his stuff is funny. He's witty. Um, but I remember watching his first Netflix special, and the opening joke was about domestic violence. Basically, long story short, he talks about him and his buddies going to a restaurant. The host had a black eye, and his friend was like, "Well, maybe she knew what she was doing in the kitchen. She wouldn't have had that black eye." Did his friend really say
Yeah.
that? I don't know. No one knows. It's part of the joke. And then Matt was like, and if you think about it too, like, do you really want that to be the face of the company, the first thing you see? Like, throw it back in the kitchen and get her to work, or something stupid like that, right? And he was, I want to say brutally, but he got some heat on the internet, and people were coming out like, oh, he's supportive of domestic violence. He doesn't like women. That's like 8% of his fan base is women because he's a good-looking dude. I'll be straight up, good-looking dude. Um, and I'm like, why are they attacking him? It's a joke. If you don't like his jokes, don't listen to his stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then he, this is actually kind of funny. He came out with an apology and said, I'm sorry if I offended anyone on my
Oh yeah.
Netflix special. And he said, link in my bio is to my formal apology. And you click the link, and it's a special needs helmet link on Amazon. That was a little
That's so
far.
fun.
I thought that was a little far of a reaction. I was like, really? Like, mm. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of get what he's saying. Like, some people have to stop being so fucking sensitive about everything.
Hmm.
Live a little, laugh a little, don't take everything to heart. No,
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah. I agree. I think we've gotten a little bit soft as a community. Um, but I understand where I can see both sides. Like, yeah, like there's people that go through this shit every day, like racism and like, exploitations and just like people like actually hurt themselves because they don't feel healthy in their own skin. Um, whether it's being gay, whether it's being a different race. So I
or
get it.
fat, whatever.
Or fat, whatever, if you're like overweight, whatever it is, if you're too skinny, I don't know. But when it comes to comedy, I mean, if you can do it tasteful and you make people laugh, man, don't get offended. But, and we'll get into it, but there is a line where you can't say certain things. Like, for example, like if you're a white dude and you're a comedian and you're just dropping the N-word, uh-uh. I don't know
Yeah.
if I agree. I don't know if I
Pump
agree with that.
your brakes a little bit. Like,
Like that's a little tough to swallow. But comedians who can playfully make these jokes, um, they know what they're doing. They're a bit of an intellectual, and and that's part of our topic for today is intellectual comedians. I had this thought where I'm just like thinking about all the comedians that I've ever seen, all the skits that I've ever seen, and there are there are some comedians that are very, very, very intelligent, and they mask it pretty well because of their comedy skit. They come off as like this, like, oh, silly, blah, blah, blah person that just makes jokes and just wants to make you laugh. And it comes off as that, oh, they're just silly. They're probably just an idiot, you know? But
not
at the same
necessarily,
time,
because
right, but I'm saying I feel like that's a common like stigma, like people think about it, but it's not necessarily like that. You
the
kind of have to
time.
be an intellectual
Oh
to
yeah,
kind of
the
make
the
people
prep,
laugh.
the prep, the research, the and I always appreciated comedians who um put the work in. You know, like they look at the facts, they get the the skit they want, they practice, they practice, they practice, they make
Hmm.
sure the timing, the delivery, everything is on point. They practice, they practice, they practice. Um, and that's how you get the really good ones. Dave Chappelle,
Hmm.
George Carlin,
Dave
one of my
Chappelle,
George Carlin's one of my favorites of all time.
George Carlin,
And I remember reading an article about George, and I said his first name like I'm friends with him. Oh yeah, George.
George, hey,
Um,
pal.
but other comedians said that he was one of the hardest working comedians. Like he would go through news articles, research, books, get all his every single thing he needs to know about a certain topic before he makes jokes about it. And he's a staple of the comedian industry, the comedic industry. Um, and he talks about a lot of touchy subjects. He talked about religion a lot, politics a lot. He talked about abortions, and he talked about a lot of different things. He also had his goofy skits, but he also had his very serious
Absolutely.
ones. You know, one of my favorites is he talks about society and how he sees it. How things are people are getting too soft. The No Child Left Behind cause. You know, everybody wins, no one loses anymore. He talked about that. Um, how about religion was a big one for him. He talked about
Yeah,
that a lot. Uh, Dave Chappelle, he's hilarious. Kevin Hart's hilarious. And then you get to a little more goofier ones like Larry the Cable Guy, hilarious. Um, but in the end of the day, to me, it's funny. Or Gabriel Iglesias, you wouldn't say he is a political or serious topic comedian, and he kills it. I'm cracking up every time. Plus, he has amazing impressions. Um, but I think comedians, I think me and you talked about this in the past, but comedians, when it comes to freedom of speech, that's like the pinnacle of your ability. Because I think if you have a right comedian speak about certain things, it can raise some awareness on things that people might not be completely aware about
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, like you don't you don't realize these people are an intellectual until you actually like rewatch their skit or when they bring up like politics or even science or just and then they spin it into a funny joke. It's like you just taught me something and also made me laugh at the same time. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Hmm.
So, um, with that said, like I also think Eric Andre, he is I saw an interview and he was just so super chill and nonchalant, like he wasn't being trying to be funny or anything, but when it comes to his type of intelligence, he knows how to put on a show, right? He studied a lot of like set work and storytelling um and movie creation and like just how to like portray a picture in your mind um with his with his skills of like of wording and different styles of play. So that's what I mean about like intellectual comedians. They really are they really are a a dime in a dozen, right? I don't know if that's the correct saying, but there's not a lot out there, and I appreciate those comedians that are intellectual because they're dangerous. You don't want to fuck with those kind of people. They will
Never,
fuck you up.
never sit in the
They'll
front row.
Yeah, never sit in the front
Never.
row. They will fuck you up, dude. Like you cross one of these intellectual comedians bad, they will fucking roast you and provide facts. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
speaking of comedians and stuff, what's your favorite comedies? And after nothing, sorry,
comedy, like
before we go
comedy
further,
movies. Go ahead, go ahead.
comedy movies, or just comedy in general, it's changed a lot.
Hmm.
I feel like that's the one genre where you could be pretty controversial and get away with it in the past. What I mean by that is, and you'll know what I'm talking about once I say some of my favorite comedy movies.
Hmm.
Superbad,
Good
The
one.
Interview, The Interview,
That's one of mine.
right? And that one had a huge controversial thing because of Kim Jong Un and all that. Um, but then my all-time, not all-time favorite, but easily top five, Tropic Thunder.
That's another.
Specifically,
I knew you were gonna mention that. That was a good one too.
specifically Robert Downey Jr. as black, as a black character, and he's not
Yeah.
black, he's white. They can't do that anymore. That will never happen
Hell
again.
no.
Okay,
Hell no. And I heard an interview about that with him, and I forgot who it was, but it's a black, either a black actor or a comedian, a friend of his, told him like, dude, you should do it. Like, there's no like you will kill it. Like, I don't know why this is even a question. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to like
offend anybody.
they knew
Yeah,
about blackface back then. Like that
yeah.
was I don't know when that movie came out, but they knew about blackface then, and he was nervous. He was like, I don't know if I should do this, but he did it and he killed it. And I didn't know that that was Robert Downey Jr. until like when I was a little bit older, right? Because I think that movie came out before we went into high school, and then I like rewatched it again in high school, and I think that's when I found out. I was like, what the fuck, Robert Downey Jr.? It's crazy, but. I would say, shit. Um, the Rush Hour movies. It's like comedy and action, but they're
Yeah.
hilarious. 21 Jump Street, good one. Um, Superbad is another good one. Trying to think of like movies that I can quote. Um, Borat was pretty funny. That's not, I mean, that's really what I got right now. Those are my top ones.
Yeah,
Now, on to the next topic that we have here. Speaking of like movies and comedians and just celebrities in general and people getting offended, right? Canceled celebrities. How do we feel about that?
depends on the
I
reason.
think some of them, I think, what'd you say?
Depends on the reason.
Yeah. I think some of them deserve it. I would say the most recent canceled celebrity that fucking deserves it is probably Diddy.
I was about to say Diddy. I was about to
Yeah.
say Diddy, but did he? I'm just
Oh my, did
kidding.
he do it? Yes, he did. He did everyone actually.
Here's the thing about
Um,
Diddy. It's like I don't want to get into that too much, but that whole thing is so bad. I'll be shocked if
Terrible.
like if he like even gets away with any of it, you know. And
There's
you
no
know,
way he can, bro.
if there's a celebrity out there who like maybe said the wrong thing, perfect example, Morgan Wallen, one of my favorite country artists.
Yep. I
He
know
had
about
a
this one.
he had a controversy one time about saying the N word.
Hmm.
And I first thought because I didn't know too much about it, I thought he was just like Big John sometimes like pardon my language, I'm gonna say it. I'm like, what's good, my nigga? How you doing?
Right.
I thought that's what it was, and people were freaking out. I'm like, why are they freaking out? It's not a big deal.
Hmm.
And then John actually showed me the footage, and it was actually him like saying something along the lines like, "I'm gonna f that N word up," because he was upset about something, whatever.
No, no, no. It was more playful. It was more playful.
Really?
Um, yeah, it was more playful. It was like his friend was leaving or something, and like he was getting into his home, and obviously there's like cameras that he didn't know about. People were recording it,
Yeah.
and he's hammered. You could tell he's hammered. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but I'm just trying to speak to what I saw, what video I saw. And basically, he was like going to his house and he was talking to a friend from afar that's like driving off in his like because I guess he got dropped off and he was driving away, but before he drove away and got in his car and he was saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat
Oh,
that
Pete,
nigga's
that
ass."
that's
Yeah.
whatever.
But he was saying it like in a playful way. Mind you, all around the world, not the world, all around the United States, there are groups of black guys who bring in different cultures into their group, right? I've always been a part of it. I'm a black Hispanic, right? I'm an Afro Latino. So in our groups, we would always there's always the one token white guy. And I bet you Morgan Wallen was that one token white guy. You could also tell like whenever he does a concert, before his concerts, he always is walking through um, the hallways into the stage with some form of celebrity, and he's always with rappers. And I'm sure these rappers are like, bro, like you're good, like you just don't say it, but like it's all good, right? Like you got like our stamp of like
Yeah.
our
But
your
here's the
of our
thing. It's
approval,
like I'll be honest, I say it, and it depends. And I don't say it in a rude way. Like depends who I'm talking to. I
right?
talk to my buddy Max different than I talk to you. I talk to Sandy very ghetto. That's just how me and him talk. But
Yeah,
it's no disrespect because we understand
right,
each other. We have respect for each other. We trust each other. We love each other like brothers. So it's not a big deal. I don't talk to my
right.
buddy Nick like that because that's not how we communicate. And Nick actually is black.
Yeah, yeah,
And I would never say things out of pocket. If I do, I'm like, I'm sorry, it slipped. Whatever, dude, cool, whatever.
yeah,
But but that's the whole thing. Cancel culture. It's like if someone makes a mistake, like Morgan did, don't put him through the ringer. Okay,
yeah,
like look at it, see the context of it, and I think he's far well done his paid his dues, literally. Like after that,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he like his foundation helped with black youth. He collabed with a lot of black artists um, with music and things like that. Maybe that's his PR guy or gal telling him to do so, public relations PR. Um, but I don't think he should be canceled for all that.
No,
Um,
I don't think he should have been
now,
canceled. I like Morgan Wallen. I'm not even a country person, and I like him.
I love Morgan Wallen, one of my favorite artists.
Yeah. He came up real big, really fast, actually. Um,
He was on The
but yeah.
Voice.
Oh, was he? That's how he started?
He was on The Voice. He didn't finish. He didn't win. He was like second or third, and
Oh,
then
sweet.
that's how he got noticed. And then record label picked him up, and fucking that's all she wrote. Started doing songs with
Wow.
different country artists, and you know this is how we roll with. No, that's not that. Up down with Florida Georgia Line.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
but I think you flip the
No,
script.
I fuck
Someone
with him
like
heavy.
Diddy absolutely should be
Yeah.
canceled. Absolutely should be canceled.
Absolutely. I don't agree with fucking domestic violence in any sort of capacity, whether it's a guy beating the fuck out of a girl or the girl beating the fuck out of a guy. Um, I don't, I totally disagree with rape, bro. He fucking raped motherfuckers, guys and women, 100%. Drugged them. Used baby oil, bro.
I'm sorry, but like no one thought to ask. Like imagine this: you're walking into his house, and he's like, "Here you go, bro. What the fuck is this baby oil for? Like, what you hand? Like, no one thought. Like, hold up,
Well,
what is, what is this for?"
there are motherfuckers that like that shit. That's the problem.
No, that's the thing. It's the not that they like it; they're forced to do so. Because Diddy had
No, no,
so much
right.
dirt on these
There's,
people that like they had to do it to maintain their stardom, to maintain their
yeah,
reputation. That
yeah.
it was
There's that
fear.
portion
It was a
too.
fear. It was fear and power.
But then there's others that are like, no, I like this shit, and they actually they did it. They did it with Diddy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
You know what the craziest part is, bro? I heard a video and it was off Twitter, and the claims are that this video recording or this audio recording was recorded by one of Diddy's um security team. He's not his he's not part of his security anymore. But apparently it was him fucking Meek Mill, and they were like saying, "Oh, daddy this, daddy that." I'm just like, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy.
we could talk
And
about this another time, but Hollywood is very dark.
Hollywood is very dark. The
You know,
music industry, I think, is darker than Hollywood.
Mm, I think
You don't think?
celebrities, like the whole realm of celebrities, there's a lot of rabbit holes that could be climbed into or down into. You know, and
Yeah.
honestly, I part of it doesn't want to fucking know. I don't want to fucking
Yeah,
know.
I don't want to know either.
I don't
I
need
feel
to
like,
know because, like, the whole fuck. Speaking of, Diddy's charges, Epstein comes to mind, right? The island
yeah.
and that the so-called list that is hidden and not being released for good reason, because no, I mean I don't agree with it, like, but good reason. I mean, like, there's a lot of celebrities and politicians and stuff that
Hmm.
probably were there, and it would ruin infrastructures if the people found out.
Yeah. A lot of a lot of cancellations
Yep, a lot of
since we're on the
cancellations.
top since we're on the top
So,
on that topic.
like, do I
Like
think
look at
that it should
go
be
ahead.
released to hold these people accountable for what they did? Yes,
Yeah.
but think about the economic, the impact it will have on society, because you got politicians, you've got celebrities, you've got um, people of power, CEOs, like all that will fucking crumble when that comes out. If it comes out, I don't know. But
I
at the
mean,
same time,
I think it should come out. I think it should
yeah,
because if they're doing something illegal, then yeah, of course, let it come
extremely,
out.
extremely illegal. Not like, oh,
You
like
know.
he had a DUI.
Well,
Like,
we're talking about the Epstein list, yeah, because
yeah,
he was doing uh what was it like just underage sex
it
rings or some
was,
shit?
it was basically, yeah, it was trafficking of underage girls. Um, that was basically a whole operation. Like, you would have one girl, and then
Hmm.
she'll recruit her friends, and then her friends will recruit their friends, and it's just
Oh
spider web.
shit!
Yeah, it was
Like
huge.
a fucking pyramid scheme? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but you know, it's amazing that he got away with it for so long, got caught, and then he died of a heart attack, like or something
No,
like that.
didn't he?
Or he got
No,
hung or
no.
something.
Yeah, he got hung. Like he hung. He
Yeah,
said he hung himself. Um, yeah, it's crazy. Speaking of, I saw. So I went to. This is another sidebar. I went to a pretty famous music festival that happens every year. It's called Bonnaroo. Unfortunately, this year it got canceled. We got to enjoy 1 year. Thank you, Bonnaroo, for giving us 100% refund versus 75%, which you had said before, but then you changed your mind to 100%. But anyways, people like to set up their camps very. People are creative, and there's a lot of different flags that people put up. So it's like sometimes it'll be like a cat smoking a cigarette or like a random fish like with a cowboy hat or something funny like a scene out of like I saw one that was like a scene out of iCarly and it just said "Gibbe," like something like funny like that. And there's like a bunch of tapestries hung up around these tents. There was one there was one flag of Epstein's face and the words written said, "This flag did not hang itself." And I'm like, no, no, that's so hilarious. Oh my God. This flag did not hang itself. But anyways, it was such a dark, like, dad
dark
joke.
humor.
It was dark humor, but it was like a
Yeah,
dark dad joke. It was like hilarious. But anyways, that was my sidebar. Um, I'm just read a couple celebrities that were canceled that maybe people definitely people have known and then other people didn't know. Um, for example, I didn't know that Mark Wahlberg was canceled. Apparently, he attacked two Vietnamese men and blinded one of them when he was a teenager. So, like, people found out later on, right?
he brought
When
it back.
he's a celebrity, they brought it back and they canceled him for a little bit, but obviously that's gone. Um, Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill was canceled because he had sent abusive text messages to his ex and they were released. People didn't like that. Russell Brand canceled for sexual assault and for faking um, his turning to religion for healing. So people caught on that he was faking, like saying that he was gonna go to religion for healing. That was fucked up. Um, Kramer, what's his name? His actual name. The guy who plays Kramer from Seinfeld. He got canceled.
I have no idea.
Well, whatever. The guy who plays Kramer on Seinfeld, he got canceled for apparently saying the N-word, which is what I brought up earlier about it. You can't say that. He's white. You cannot say that N-word, even in a stand-up. Uh, er, it was because people started leaving his show, and it appeared that the people that were leaving his show were black, and he used the N-word or to make a joke or something, and was not good. And then
Well,
Johnny Depp.
if they were leaving his show, then if he said the N word, they definitely left his show.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And then Johnny Depp. Um, he
He's
got
good
canceled.
now.
He's good now. I think he was good
Well,
always.
no. So the only one there I know about is Johnny because I watched the Depp First Heard Netflix special. The shit was wild.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a
She
huge
took a
Johnny Depp fan.
shit
He
on
took a
his pillow.
shit. Is that a shit?
Is that a
And then and then
shit?
and then try to blame it on the fucking dog, the little Maltese. I don't know what kind of deal. One of those little white dogs,
Yeah,
and it was like a human-sized shit. And he was like, "There's no way that dog.
yeah.
There's no way that dog did that."
Bro, the log is this big and this ball. What the fuck?
Um, Johnny Depp, one of the greatest actors of all time. I love his
1,000%,
shit.
1,000%.
I love his shit. I love him and obviously fucking Jack Sparrow.
He's coming back as Jack Sparrow. There was a rumor, and I think he kind of confirmed it. But anyways, but yeah,
I hope
Johnny Depp.
so. But what I didn't like about the whole situation, I understand it's a business. At the end of the day, I get that.
Yeah.
But the second all this Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial shit hit the fan, um, like they Disney dropped Johnny. Like they're like, we can't do work with you
Yeah,
anymore.
bro.
And
Drop him
I'm thinking
like
to
a
myself,
bag of bricks, bro.
I'm thinking to myself, like after all he's done for
Literally.
that
Like,
franchise,
you don't think to take the time to let the fucking whole trial
yeah,
play
yeah,
out?
like let it play
How
out
about
and
you?
see what happens. Don't
Yeah, like, how
assume
about you?
he's guilty.
Yeah, how about you pause his contract? That's fair. Pause the contract. He's like, hey, we're gonna wait and hear everything out. We appreciate all you have done for us and for Disney. But no, fucking fuck
Just
you,
drop him.
Disney,
Just drop
for
him.
dropping him, man. Like, what the hell is that?
Like, have some faith in the people who've been loyal, to
Yeah,
your
seriously.
company, right? But I'm so happy it worked out. I was watching
Yeah.
the Netflix special with my girlfriend, and we're like watching him, watching her, watching him, watching her, and it was just a shit show for her. Like it looked like she was acting. She was like sobbing like, uncontrollably, and he's just
Yeah.
sitting there with his sunglasses on. He's like, "Whatever, bitch. Like, shut up, dude."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And
uh,
I think Eric and I can attest to not being in an abusive relationship like that. Because I'm pretty sure she like fucking hit him and shit.
I think
Was that
she's
ever
trying to.
mentioned?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I don't want to make accusations like that. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I do not know. But I know she tried to pin him on the fact that he drank a lot. Um,
Bro. I mean,
but
I mean,
like,
maybe, but whatever.
but I
But was he
that
abusive? That's the thing. Was he
she tried to
drinking and
say
abusive?
things like she tried to say like he threw like glasses, drink glasses, and you know objects at her and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he
But
threw. It's like I've thrown things before, like, in a frustration.
yeah,
I've thrown
out
things
of frustration.
into a wall, but I never threw it at anybody.
Could it be mentally abusive for like maybe the girl's scared? Yeah, but I'm not downplaying abusiveness, but it's like you got to see the whole picture before we
Yeah,
just accuse everybody. And it sucks because there's this stigma of like guys and getting just easily getting in trouble because of abuse or because of like even sexual abuse. And guys getting locked up for that too. And at the end of the day, like you find out, it's like, oh no, the girl made the whole shit up.
but here's the
And
thing:
this
the
guy,
courts will always take the female side.
and and that sucks, man, because most of the time I feel like, yeah, okay, I've seen a lot of the time where guys were actually abusive and like they were the aggressor. Like fuck
Yeah.
them for doing that. But like, bro, like it ruins it for all other awesome guys. And then one, let's say you like, there's this the nicest guy like gets into it, like into it with like a girl, like not bad into it, but like into it like romantically and like physically, and then something they get in a disagreement, but nothing physical happens where like they beat each other up, but it was just a verbal altercation, and then the girl claims rape or claims that he was abusive, and then he gets locked up for like 5 years. That sucks. That honestly sucks. And I would hope nobody. ever gets into that situation where, they're being genuine, they're being good, and some lunatic fucks you over. And I'm sure there's another way. There's probably a way of it happening where the women get falsely accused of doing something, but I've been seeing mostly men getting falsely accused. But
Let me ask you this:
again, talk to me.
is it okay for a man to put hands on a girl ever?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Never.
I never. I mean, I'm old school when it comes to that. But I mean, I guess it depends if, like, let's say she's trying to kill you, then yeah, I'm gonna fucking punch the bitch.
Oh.
But yeah, like if I'm not doing anything and she goes crazy and like grabs a gun or grabs a knife, I'm gonna knock the fucking shit out of her if I can. Or run away if she has a gun.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't condone it at all. I don't even like
Yeah.
yelling at a girl because I feel like
Yeah.
there's no necessary. It's not necessary. If you can talk about it
No.
as adults and communicate with your significant other,
Yeah.
then do it. You don't have to go into a shouting match, and God
No.
forbid you don't have to get physical. But I do believe there are exceptions to rules. If she's trying to
Mm.
harm me, like really bad, like if she's trying to slap me and shit, just
Yeah, it's
fucking
like
duck and maybe put her in a fucking hole and be like, stop it. That's fine.
yeah.
Um, but let's say she's trying, like you said, to have the gun and points it at me. Now gloves are off. I'm sorry. Like you crossed that line. Or if she's trying to hurt our kids. You know,
Oh shit. Yeah.
there's plenty of
Yeah.
shit. My girlfriend loves watching these like crime shows, not like CSI, but like Forensic Files or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
you
Crime
hear like,
documentaries and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever crime documentaries, and you hear like fucking mother of two fucking drowns her children in a fucking barrel, and like what? Like I hate hearing shit like that. Like because in the end of the day, it's the mother. You don't expect that from a woman. A guy, I guess for me, it makes a little more sense. But that motherly, nurturing aspect of a female, you'd never expect that.
Yeah.
And they and
There was
but the thing is like they do, right? So if I see that, you bet your ass I'm gonna fucking run over there and body slam that lady, that woman, and call it a fucking day because you're trying to kill my
yeah.
kids. God forbid.
So
Obviously, we don't want this ever to happen to anyone. Um, like we're just hypothetical situation. Is it ever okay? Is what I'm asking.
yeah. And it makes you think because like just recently there was a woman on trial accused of murdering her husband, who was a police officer in Massachusetts. Her name is Karen Reed. I just pulled up a little AI synopsis here. This podcast is powered by an AI. No, I'm just kidding. Karen Reed is a Massachusetts woman who was involved in a high-profile legal case concerning the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. I'm gonna read this real quick. Key information about the case. Incident. John O'Keefe was found unresponsive in the snow outside of a fellow officer's home in Canton, Massachusetts on January 29th, 2022, later pronounced dead. Accusations. Prosecutors accused Karen Reed of hitting O'Keefe with her SUV
Right.
after a night of drinking and leaving him to die in the snow. Charges. Reed was charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, while operating under the influence and leaving the scene of a collision resulting in a death. Defense. Reed's defense team claimed that she was framed and argued that O'Keefe was actually killed during an altercation inside the house party, potentially involving a dog attack, and the police engaged in a cover-up. Uh, Trials. First trial ended in a mistrial due to a hung jury. I don't know what that means. Second trial, 2025. Karen Reed was acquitted of second-degree murder and manslaughter, but found guilty of operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. Yeah, that's crazy. So she was found not guilty for killing her husband while driving drunk. She was sentenced 1 year probation and will have to complete a driver alcohol education program, and her license will be suspended for 90 days. That's
But
scary, bro. Like,
the point is, women can do awful things. Men can do awful things. Um, and it's just unfortunate. And it's like whether it's mental health issues, whether it's under the influence of drugs and alcohol, um, you know. But that's why I enjoy watching. This is a little bit of a sidetrack, but that's why I like watching apocalyptic shows like Walking Dead
mhm,
or The Last of Us because it makes you wonder, like, when shit hits the fan, people are a lot more
radical.
have that radical and they have the ability to do things that they wouldn't have done in a normal society.
Yeah,
You know, it's like
yeah.
when they're pushed to a certain degree, they're very capable of doing awful things. You know,
Hmm.
it makes you wonder. Um, but before we wrap it up, something happening in California is the kind of wraps us back to the freedoms uh, topic of flavored vapes. So in California, they are legalizing flavored nicotine. And the reason is because they feel like there's too many underage people getting them, whether they're 18, 19, 20, doesn't matter. Like you have to be 21 and older to purchase one. I think,
Is that
I,
so?
you
You
have
have
to
to
be
be
21,
21?
21
Is that only California?
in California, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they feel like too many people, teenagers from 15 plus might be getting it. And they think it's because of the
Mm.
flavors that are attracting them to the device.
Yeah, it could be.
To me,
Or the
I
addictive nicotine product in it, but okay.
um, but if it doesn't taste good, would they try it? I feel like more younger people would probably um, cater to the fruity, yummy flavors than a cigarette.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, I disagree with it because I don't think it's the shop's fault that these under 21 people are getting the vape. I think it's, maybe bad parenting. Maybe,
Hmm.
you know, I mean, we've done this in the past. You have older cousins. Hey, if I give you money, you get me beer. I
Yeah.
mean, what's the difference between that and say, hey, let me give you money, get me a vape?
Right.
Right. So, why ruin it for the of age individuals who enjoy nicotine? You know, I mean, that's just my thought. And the reason I'm trying to rope this into freedom is it's your freedom to indulge in what you want to indulge in, right?
Hmm.
It's your, if you want to smoke
As long
nicotine, go
as
ahead. If you
as
want
long
to
as
drink,
it's legal.
right? But now you're taking that away.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks because from a business perspective, there are companies losing money because of this
Ban.
outrageous rule, right? I'm not a nicotine vape smoker, but I can understand where it could be a problem for those who do smoke vapes and, use nicotine products to
Hmm.
maybe kick maybe kick a different vice. Like maybe they were a drug addict, right? But they're
I
like, you
mean,
know
I'll
what?
talk
Like,
about it. Like I used to indulge in, weed, alcohol, things like
hmm,
that, and I stopped because I want to be healthier. I felt like I didn't. I see all my friends; they're all, you know, late 30s, early 40s, some of them, and they're still doing the same bad habits, drinking really
hmm,
heavily. Some of them are doing coke. I've seen it. Um,
hmm,
and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I'm 29.
hmm.
Time to, get better. But my point is I kicked all those bad habits pretty easily, but the nicotine was so hard. Like, I went 3 days without it, and I was like, fucking, I'm buying one. And I'm only saying that because kind of what you said, it's like, maybe they do it to not do other things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's interesting. to see that. Again, it's like it's hard because it's like, yeah, like nicotine is bad for you. Obviously, it's going to be bad for these younger kids. Obviously, we don't want our kids to be sick at an early age and develop whatever cancer might come from it or respiratory issue. Um, but at the same time, maybe there should be stricter guidelines to prevent from younger adults or younger kids
I
from
mean, the guidelines are pretty.
accessing this.
The guidelines are clear. 21 and over, clear as day. It's not the guidelines that's the problem. It's the. I feel like it's the willingness of others to get it for them. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. I mean, I think I
And
remember this way back. Me and you. I forgot where we were, but for some reason this just popped in my mind. We were at a convenience store, and remember that there's like some not kid, but like probably 16, 17, 18, asked us to buy them alcohol, and we were like no, and we walked away.
oh yeah,
Remember that?
I re I don't remember that, but I remember a kid. He was actually in my brother's grade, and he was like 10 or 11. And he's like, hey, like he came up like, hey, do you have a dollar? This was at like the or the city fair,
Mm.
and I was like, yeah, I have a dollar here. And he's like, all right, cool. Pulls out his wad of cash. He's like counting his money. I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he pulls out a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, what the fuck? You're like
Yeah,
11 years old. So you just got to be careful, man. Like
yeah.
if you're younger and you like and a kid comes up to you like, yo, can you buy me this? Be like, nah, nah. And if they're like, oh, like what the fuck, bro? Like, bro, I don't fucking know who you are.
I don't know who you are. You're not my fucking bro. Back the fuck up.
Yeah,
That's it.
literally.
It's
Like,
that simple.
yeah, you don't know
But,
anybody, anything,
right, but, but
but yeah,
anyway,
man.
third episode.
Third episode. It's
Um,
great.
at the end of the day, enjoy your freedoms. Don't take advantage of it, and hope everyone has, like I said, have a nice 4th of July. I wish you a very nice 4th of July too, John. I wish you were out here and we'd celebrate together.
Thank you, brother. I
One
hope you
day we
have an
will.
amazing time. Hope you have an amazing time on 4th of July. It's a Friday, so enjoy it. I hope they give you the day off. Enjoy
I
the
think I'm
weekend.
I think I'm off. I think the next day me and my girl might go play a round of golf on Saturday.
That'll be
So
fun.
enjoy
That'll be
the
fun.
day.
Make sure you hit the water at least. Go see
Oh,
water.
I
Because
only
that's
aim for the water.
no, I'm not talking about golf. I'm saying on 4th of July. Like go see water.
Oh,
It's always relaxing. I don't know what it is, but anytime the 4th of July is around, I'm always near a body of water and it's so like chill and like the reflection of the like firework over the water is so cool. So if you have the chance, go do that. Anybody who's watching, listening, go do that.
but
But
enjoy it. Be safe out there wherever you want to indulge in. It's your right and
mhm.
freedom to enjoy it, but do so in a safe manner, um,
And legal manner.
and legal manner for sure. But that's episode 3 of the Amibros podcast, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Yes,
Happy
sir.
birthday, United States. Love you. Bye.
Bye.